We have the 9 o'clock starting group, the youngest contestant ever. He's 5 years old. Eldrick Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods is the 100th U.S. Open champion in history.
Tiger Woods halfway to the slam.
The celebrity website TMZ released these photos of Tiger Woods' mangled car.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior.
I need to ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly. How much of the life you're living right now was actually your choice? The career, the identity, the version of yourself you show the world every day. How much of that is you? And how much of it was decided for you before you were old enough to have an opinion? Because there's a man who spent 30 years becoming the most perfect athlete in human history. 82 tournament wins, 15 major championships, $1.5 billion in net worth. The most recognizable athlete on the planet. And behind all of it, a man who had no idea who he actually was. Because Tiger Woods didn't choose golf. Golf was chosen for him. Before he could walk. Before he could talk. Before he had a single opinion about what he wanted from life. And that one fact, that single truth, will explain everything that happened next. The experiment. Earl Woods was a Green Beret, U.S. Army, Vietnam. A man who understood discipline the way most people understand breathing. He also understood something else. He understood that greatness isn't found, it's engineered. And so when his son Eldrick was born on December 30th, 1975, Earl didn't see a baby. He saw a project. Before Tiger Woods could walk, Earl had a golf club in his hands. At 6 months old, Tiger sat in a high chair in the garage and watched his father hit balls into a net. Not because Earl was forcing him, because Earl knew something. The earlier you shape a mind, the deeper it holds the shape. At age 2, Tiger appeared on national television, putting with Bob Hope on the Mike Douglas Show. At age 3, he shot 48 over 9 holes. At age 5, featured in Golf Digest magazine. Let that sink in for a moment. Golf Digest, age 5. While other kids were learning to tie their shoes, Tiger Woods was already a public figure, and Earl was engineering every detail. He would jingle coins in his pocket while Tiger was mid-swing. He would cough, drop things, create noise. Not to be cruel, to build a mind that couldn't be broken. A mind that could block out everything. Pressure, crowd, chaos, and still perform. It worked. God, it worked. But here is what Earl never accounted for. A mind trained to block everything out eventually blocks out the things it shouldn't. The feelings, the needs, the voice inside that says, wait, is this what I actually want? At 15, youngest U.S. junior amateur champion ever. At 18, 3 consecutive U.S. amateur titles. At 21, turned professional. The day after winning his 3rd U.S. amateur title, he played his first pro tournament. He signed with Nike, he signed with Titleist. He became a multi-millionaire before playing a single professional round. And 42 weeks into his professional career, He was ranked number 1 in the world. I never had a choice. I was born to play golf. My dad made sure of that. Tiger Woods. He said it like it was a blessing. It would take 20 years to understand. It was also a sentence.
The God of Golf. April 13, 1997. Augusta National. The Masters Tournament. Tiger Woods, 21 years old, wins by 12 strokes. The largest margin of victory in Masters history. The first black man to win the Masters. The youngest Masters champion in history. He falls into his father's arms at the 18th green. Earl is crying. Tiger is crying. And for one moment, everything that was built, forced, shaped, engineered, felt like it was worth it. And then it got bigger. And then it got even bigger than that.
Because Tiger Woods didn't just win. He made it look like everyone else was playing a completely different sport. The year 2000. US Open, won by 15 strokes. British Open, won by 8 strokes. PGA Championship, won in a playoff. Then the 2001 Masters. He had done it. 4 consecutive major championships. The Tiger Slam. Something no one had ever done before. Something no one has done since. Nike gave him $105 million just for wearing their clothes. Every sponsor on earth wanted his name. Every camera followed his walk. Every gallery fell silent when he lined up a putt. He had become something beyond an athlete. He was a symbol, a myth. The living proof that if you sacrifice everything, if you give your entire life to a single purpose, you can reach a place no human has ever reached. But symbols don't get to have a private life. And myths aren't allowed to be human. And Tiger Woods, behind every perfect image, was quietly cracking. His father Earl was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 1998. Tiger kept winning. Earl's heart was failing. Tiger kept winning. May 3rd, 2006. Earl Woods died. And Tiger lost the only person who had always been there. The architect, the believer, the father. 3 months later, Tiger won the British Open and broke down crying over the ball on the 18th. He said it was for his dad. What he didn't say, and maybe didn't fully understand yet, was that something had come unmoored. The man the project was built for was gone. And Tiger Woods, for the first time in his life, had no idea what he was doing any of this for. The double life. Here is the version of Tiger Woods the world knew. Perfect family man. Married Ellen Nordegren in 2004. Daughter Sam, born in 2007. Son Charlie, born in 2009. The face of Nike, of American Express, of Accenture, of clean, disciplined success. The role model, the icon, the man who had everything. And here is the version nobody was supposed to see. A man who had spent his entire life performing. Performing for his father, for sponsors, for cameras, for a world that needed him to be perfect. And somewhere along the way, performing became the only thing he knew how to do, even in private. The affairs started surfacing later, but they hadn't started later. They had been there, running parallel to the championships, the sponsorships, the perfect image, for years. Not one affair, not two. Eventually, the count would exceed 120 women. And before you judge that, ask a harder question. What does a man who has never been allowed to simply be human do when no one is watching? What does a man whose entire identity was built by someone else do when that someone is gone? What does a man with every possible achievement feel when none of it fills the thing inside that has always been empty? He was searching, desperately, recklessly, in all the wrong places, for something nobody had ever taught him to look for: himself. The night everything exploded. November 27, 2009, 2:25 a.m., Windermere, Florida. A black Cadillac Escalade pulls out of a driveway and hits a fire hydrant, then crashes into a tree. Tiger Woods is found lying in the road, unconscious, bleeding from the mouth. His wife, Elin, is standing nearby, holding a golf club she used to break the rear window. She says she was trying to help him. Within hours, the world's most managed public image began to fall apart. The first name came out, then the second, then the third. By the end of the week, the number had climbed past a dozen. By the time it stopped making headlines, it had passed 100. The man America had accepted as its symbol of discipline and perfection had been living a completely different life. And now, there was nowhere left to hide. The sponsors started leaving. Accenture, gone. AT&T, gone. Gatorade, gone. Tag Heuer, gone. $22 million in endorsements vanished in weeks. He released a public statement, then another, then a press conference. He stood in front of cameras in a pressed shirt and apologized to the world with the same controlled composure his father had spent 30 years building into him. Even in collapse, he was performing. And that might be the saddest part of this entire story. Not the scandal, not the divorce, but the fact that even in his most broken moment, Tiger Woods still didn't know how to just be a human being in pain. He had been performing for so long, he didn't know what was underneath the performance. The divorce was finalized in August 2010. Tiger paid a reported $100 million settlement. He lost his wife, his children's daily presence, his reputation, his identity. Everything Earl had built. Demolished. In 23 days. When the body starts keeping score, here is something nobody tells you about living inauthentically. The mind might accept it. The body never does. Tiger Woods had been playing through pain his entire career. Back, knees, Achilles. Playing through injuries that would have ended other careers, because that's what had been built into him. You don't stop. You perform. You win. He had 5 back surgeries. 5. The last one in January 2021. And then less than a month later, before he was even fully recovered, February 23rd, 2021. His SUV rolled over multiple times on a California highway. His right leg was shattered. The doctors told him they considered amputation. Tiger told them no. Think about what that means. The doctors considered taking his leg. He said no. Not because of vanity. Not because of golf. Because a man who has spent his entire life being defined by what his body can do cannot comprehend who he is without it. 2017, he was arrested for DUI, found asleep at the wheel at 3 a.m., the engine still running, not drunk.
Medicated. 5 prescription drugs in his system. His body shutting down in ways his mind still refused to acknowledge. A man of absolute physical discipline, completely unable to control what was happening inside his own body. This is what the fall of Tiger Woods actually looks like. Not the scandal, not the headlines. A human being in pieces, still refusing to stop, still trying to perform. Because when performing is the only identity you have, stopping feels like dying. April 14, 2019, The Walk. This is the part of the story that made grown men cry. In sports arenas, in living rooms, in bars with the sound turned off because the image alone was enough. Augusta National, the Masters, April 14, 2019. Tiger Woods hadn't won a major in 11 years. 11 years. He had been through the scandal, the divorce, the DUI, the 5 back surgeries, the car crash that nearly took his leg. Every expert in golf had written him off, some gently, some brutally. He was 43 years old. His back was rebuilt with titanium. His right leg was held together by rods. He walked up the 18th fairway at Augusta, with the gallery screaming his name. And something happened in those final 200 yards that had nothing to do with golf. Because everyone watching understood, without being able to articulate it, that what they were seeing wasn't a golf tournament. It was a man choosing one more time to keep going. He tapped in his final putt, raised both fists. His caddy, Joey LaCava, embraced him. His son Charlie ran to him from the gallery. His daughter Sam right behind him. And Tiger Woods held his children the way his father once held him, after a Masters win on the same course, 22 years before. The greatest comeback in the history of sport. Not because of the title, not because of the record, because of everything it cost to get there. And because when you've lost everything, your reputation, your marriage, your body, your identity, and you come back anyway, it doesn't look like winning. It looks like survival. It looks like choice. The most important choice a human being can make. To decide that what happened to you is not the end of you. The mirror. Now I want you to stop for a second. Before we get to the end of this story, I want you to think about something that has nothing to do with golf. How much of who you are right now was built by someone else's vision for you? A parent who had a plan, a culture that had expectations, a version of success you inherited before you were old enough to define your own. Tiger Woods had the most extreme version of this story, but the pattern, the architecture, is everywhere. The child who became a doctor because the family needed a doctor. The person who stayed in a career for 15 years because leaving felt like betrayal. The human being who performs perfectly for the world while slowly disappearing inside. That's not Tiger Woods. That's most of us. The performance is just different. The identity is just different. The audience is just different. But the emptiness behind the perfect image, that part is the same. And here is the question Tiger Woods had to face at the very bottom of everything
when the sponsors were gone, the marriage was over, the body was broken, and the crowd had moved on. The question that will eventually find every single person watching this video: who are you when you take the performance away? Not your job title, not your achievements, not the version of you that other people approve of. Who are you actually? That question is either terrifying or the most liberating thing you've ever been asked. The difference between those two options is whether you're willing to look. Tiger Woods is still playing golf in 2026 at 50 years old, with a rebuilt leg, with a ruptured Achilles he's recovering from, with a life that has been shattered and rebuilt more times than anyone should have to survive. People ask why he keeps going. Why not retire? Why not rest? You've already proven everything there is to prove. And maybe, just maybe, that's the wrong question. Maybe the reason Tiger Woods keeps coming back isn't about proving anything to the world. Maybe it's about proving something to the boy who never had a choice. The boy who was handed a golf club before he could walk. The boy who spent 30 years being somebody's vision of greatness and is finally, slowly, becoming his own. That's not a golf story. That's a human story. It's your story. Because you have also been shaped by forces you didn't choose. You have also performed versions of yourself that weren't entirely yours. You have also, somewhere, at some point, lost the thread back to who you actually are. The question is what you're swinging for. Comment one word below. Just one. The one word that describes the version of yourself you've been performing for other people. Perfect. Strong. Fine. Successful. Happy. Whatever word has been your costume, write it. Because naming the mask is the first step to taking it off. Tiger Woods took 30 years to get there. You don't have to. The walk-up 18 is waiting for you. But first, you have to know what you're walking toward.